Every game is free on DAZN.com/flashscore. That's DAZN.com/flashscore.
They will keep it in and prevent it going for a throw-in to Chelsea, but that's a terrible back pass from Arias that has put Fabio under pressure. Now Fluminense need to be careful, and it's hacked away rather laboriously there by Thiago Silva. He's forced into it. A little bit of overplaying there from Fluminense, but they'll survive for now. Throw in to Chelsea on the right, midway inside their own half, as we get a look up in the director's box with the very important people up there, along with Ronaldo. Yes, the Brazilian Ronaldo. There's Gianni Infantino, who I think will be encouraged with this tournament. Of course, last year the US hosted the Copa America. This year the Club World Cup, really gearing up for next year's World Cup. Ball over the top from Adarabioyo to Fernandes, who, as he kept it in, no he hasn't, just a little bit too long for Fernandes, who made the break from midfield but a goal kick. And Gianni Infantino, I say, will be encouraged by what he has seen this summer, really seen as a real dry run. Last year they had a test of sorts with the Copa America, but this is the first full FIFA event hosted in the US ahead of next summer's major showpiece. The competition, I think, drew a few sneers beforehand, and it certainly was a little bit cack-handed in how teams were selected or qualified or didn't qualify, as the case may be. Now, the likes of Inter Miami were granted admission to the competition for winning the Supporters' Shield for the best regular season record in last year's Major League Soccer. The overall MLS Cup winners, LA Galaxy, did not qualify. Guga now cleared away by Nonato. Those are just a couple of issues, and there's a foul now by Adarabioyo on Cano on the right hand side for Fluminense. Free kick. And probably one of the issues was initially sort of crowds at the games, but one has to remember many of these games were played midweek afternoon time here, which, you know, not all these clubs, especially in the group stages, were going to draw big crowds anyway. And there's a giveaway now by Thiago Santos to Enzo Fernandez, who has really been busy opening almost quarter of an hour. Cucurella and good strong aerial challenge, as do Caicedo and Nonato. Caicedo now claiming a hand of John Arias, run that away, but nothing doing. Nonato comes away for Fluminense. Now onto the left hand side for Rene, midway inside the Chelsea half. Rene attacking Malo Gusto, gets it in there for Cano, but calmly side-footed away by Adarabioyo, and that'll trickle out for a throw-in on the left, just inside the Chelsea half for Fluminense. Certainly when sides like Fluminense here, who have a big club in their own right, plus have a lot of expat supporters here in the US, that hasn't been a problem. Real Madrid, all the major European giants, the big South American sides, they have all brought supporters with them wherever they have gone, but some of the smaller clubs, or maybe the
Every game is free on DAZN.com/flashscore. That's zn.com/flashscore.
Corner of the net, and Chelsea have a 1-0 lead in this Club World Cup semi-final from the former Fluminense João Pedro on his first start, his first goal for the Blues, and it is 1-0 to Enzo Maresca's side here. Maresca barely allowed himself a celebration, but allowed himself the wow as he watched that one into the top corner. There's certainly, if there was any reviews for that potential offside against Pedro Neto, they have been waved away pretty quickly. Malo Gusto has to cover now as Enzo Fernandez with a bit of a misguided pass there, almost allowed Cano to get in on it, but now it's back with Chelsea and back with Robert Sanchez, their goalkeeper, in all orange this afternoon. So just before the 20-minute mark, the deadlock is broken, and it's a first Chelsea goal on a first Chelsea start for the Fluminense youth product João Pedro. Now here's Cucurella going down the left touchline, the Spain international. Thinks about going forward, but instead plays it inside to Fernandez, and then gets it back and rolls it to Caicedo. The Ecuadorian, over £100 million brought in from Brighton. Of course, a former teammate at the Amex of João Pedro. Now back with Adebayo, who was a free signing last summer from Fulham, so he didn't have to move too far. Probably didn't have to move house. A very handy move logistically for Adebayo, and it's worked out very well for him. Cucurella now down the left hand side for Neto. Taking on Guga. Goes inside to Fernandez, and now back with Adebayo. Caicedo. Now Neto on the left hand side, line with the edge 18-yard box, attacking Guga. Neto to the byline. Guga sticks with him well, but Neto is twisting, turning, gets across when his left foot, in it comes, header in from Kunku this time, and a good save by Fabio down low. And that was nearly 2-0 for Chelsea there on 20 minutes, and all their good work is coming down that left hand side from Pedro Neto. It actually went over the head of Nkunku there. My apology, it was Malo Gusto in behind Nkunku arriving, who got a low stooping header onto that one. The two of them were going for it, but it was the French fullback who got the touch. Long ball forward from Fabio, flicked down from Adebayo to Chalobah. Ball played forward there from Nkunku, looking for the run of Palmer, but it's too long. It's at the feet now of Fabio, all in sky blue, the Fluminense goalkeeper. Now what do they have in response here, Fluminense? They haven't, you wouldn't say they've exactly been free scoring. However, they scored 2 goals both against Inter and Al Hilal, but they have kept, before today, they kept 3 clean sheets out of 5, including goalless group stage draws of Borussia Dortmund and Mamelodi Sundowns, and they also kept Inter at bay as well. The equaliser for Al Hilal in the quarter final from Marcos Leonardo was just their 3rd goal conceded. The other 2 coming in their 4-2 group stage win over Ulsan Hyundai. As Pedro Neto thought his pass to that flick on from Enzo Fernandez was blocked by Guga, but the referee disagrees. Now here's Arias dropping very deep midway inside his own half and brought Trevor Chalobah with him. Now he gets out on the left hand side for Rene. Rene back to Thiago Silva. Now Ignacio on the edge of his own box. So Fluminense have scored 8 goals through the tournament, 7 different goal scorers. Only that man I mentioned earlier, Hercules, has got more than 1 for Renato Portalupi's men so far, so they have certainly shared the love among the goal scorers. But what do they have in response here to Chelsea, who are dominating this tie through 23 minutes? They lead 1-0 through João Pedro's first Chelsea goal. Now a good arrow ball there from Fernandez. Picks out Gusto, he cuts it back looking for João Pedro, doesn't find him but finds Nkunku, but Guga gets it away, and then a good strong challenge from Nonato on Caicedo, and then Nonato is brought to down by Fernandez, who is really getting tore in as he normally does, Enzo Fernandez, but he needs to be careful not to get on Francois Letessier's wrong side. I think some of the Fluminense bench are ready to be asking if the referee is going to be producing a card anytime soon for the Chelsea captain. Thiago Silva the Fluminense captain, out to Rene on the left hand side, just inside their own half. He goes back then to Thiago Santos, the man brought in for the suspended Julian Freites. Adebayo wins a header above Cano, and then it's in the midfield it's Bernal and Palmer who are jostling for possession, but Palmer wins that battle, but not the one against Nonato, who pushes aside Enzo Fernandez, and that's a free kick now to Fluminense, and another one against Fernandez, and I think that must be a little bit harsh. But Francois Letessier, goodness me, well, he had angry eyes on him there, I think, making sure Nonato knew, do not be questioning free kicks. And I don't know, it's Nonato almost goes for a rugby style handoff on Fernandez, and the two of them get tangled, and it's the Fluminense midfielder ends up on the floor. Yeah, it's just a strength issue there. Enzo Fernandez is like a bull in midfield for Chelsea, but Francois Tessier certainly making sure that Nonato and his Fluminense teammates knew, do not be asking me for cards. So back with Fabio now after a free kick from Fluminense fell apart a little bit, but Rene with a heavy touch and a 50-50 Caicedo. That could have gone wrong. The two of them in the end come away from it unscathed, but Fluminense have the ball over halfway now with Bernal de Guga on the right hand side in front of the Chelsea bench. Enzo Maresca on the edge of his technical area barking instructions. Back now with Bernal, and now Ignacio on halfway to Thiago Santos. Out on the left for Rene. Arias back to Rene. It's so hard when teams are knocking the ball around in this heat for the opposition to keep up, but now it's with Hercules. 1-2 there with Cano. Hercules in again here. Hercules surely not again. Cucurella off the line. Did it go in? No claims yet from anybody. Mark Cucurella wags his finger. It's cleared away. Play will continue here. Ignacio, oh, he's striding forward. The big centre half runs into Caicedo, but gives it away in the end to Nkunku as he overruns it. Hercules almost again for the third knockout stage game in a row with a goal, dancing through, poked it past Sanchez, but Mark Cucurella to the rescue off the line for Chelsea. That's the first real chance for Fluminense, and they're inches away from a leveller here in 25 minutes. I'd love to see a replay of that just to see how close Hercules' effort was to trickling over the line. But now Chelsea come the other end here. Can they take advantage of that? Enzo Fernandez approaching the penalty. He looks for Palmer. Well read though by Ignacio, and they'll come away with it again here with Cano and now with Bernal, who's looking for options ahead of him, which is fairly limited, so he plays it out on the right for Guga. So close to a leveller there from Fluminense with their first real big chance of the game. And now there's a Chelsea player is down on the halfway line, and it's Enzo Fernandez. I can see his number 8 shirt there. I don't quite know what's wrong with him there. It seemed to be off the ball, as he had maybe a coming together there. Let's see. But we're going to have a look at this effort first from Hercules. Yeah, it's well off the line by Cucurella. I think there's a bit of miscommunication there between Sanchez and Chalobah. One thought the other was going to get to that one. It's so close. Superbly read by the Chelsea left back to get back and cover there. As Chalobah was trying to leave it for him, and it is cleared off the knockout rounds, but still he's going to be given a bit of time to get himself better. He's got a cold towel around the neck and is currently drenching his head in water. As I mentioned, it is a hot day here in East Rutherford. 34 degrees at kick-off. A National Weather Service heat alert. Here, just the borough of New Jersey, where you can see the skyscrapers of Midtown Manhattan over the roof of the MetLife Stadium. In, well, pretty much a year and a few days' time, we'll be back here for the World Cup final. But right now we're trying to see who's going to be in the Club World Cup final, as the Fluminense players and Chelsea players really feeling this heat here, with the big fans spraying mist at those on the bench. I'm sure is a relief for both sets of players who have been, it's been a busy opening. Well, now we're sitting at 28 minutes, but 26 minutes or so of play. Wow, just looking at the goal line technology, and the ball just kisses the goal line before Cucurella slides it away. Comes to his side's rescue. Miscommunication but he read it so well, and Hercules, by the time his momentum had carried him beyond it, was basically standing at the byline, so he could see that it hadn't gone in, hence why he didn't really claim. But the only goal of the game so far coming the way of Chelsea via the Fluminense youth product. He said before the game he wouldn't celebrate. He didn't. Hands up to the Fluminense fans. Hands clasped together like a prayer to those Fluminense fans. He knows that he wouldn't be at a club like Chelsea if it weren't for the contributions of Fluminense's youth academy, who he joined back in 2011, made his breakthrough to senior side in 2018 before a year later joining Watford in the Premier League, where he really made a name for himself in England, before Brighton last season, and now Chelsea this. And after only signed a week ago, flew out here before the quarter-final against Palmeiras, another Brazilian side of course. Made his debut just before the hour mark, coming on for Liam Delap, and now starting today with Delap suspended, and he gets his first goal. Just an incredible embarrassment of attacking riches already for Enzo Maresca, but with Delap, João Pedro and Jamie Gittins now all in the door already. Only a week into July, or just over a week into July. The Premier League season is still over a month away. The transfer window closing a couple of weeks after that again. Just what will this Chelsea side look like come September? Now there's Fernandes, who is back to his feet, but he gets a bit of a shunt there from Hercules as the two of them challenge for a header on halfway, and he's really fired up for this one. Enzo Fernandez looking to the referee and to the linesman for a foul. Neither comments. A throw in to Fluminense on halfway, which Guga goes back to Ignacio, and now here's Thiago Silva, the Fluminense captain, back to Fabio, right footed, slams it forward. Malo Gusto, well, he'll tell you he meant to flick that one back to Chalava. I think that was a miscontrol, but no damage done. And now here's Palmer. He comes back to the halfway line to get the ball off Caicedo, looks for his options, stands on the ball, and then decides his best one is to go back to Chalaba, who was breathing a sigh of relief that Marc Cucurella bailed him out with that goal line clearance, because there's a bit of miscommunication between he and his goalkeeper Robert Sanchez that allowed Hercules to get in behind and poke the ball goal bound. I think Sanchez was waiting for Chalaba to clear it, and Chalaba was waiting for Sanchez to come for it, neither which happened. And now Adarabioyo arrows one out onto the right hand flank for Malo Gusto. Holds off a strong challenge there from Rene. Goes inside looking for João Pedro, who's been kept fairly quiet since his goal, and that's a good challenge from Thiago Santos to get it down the pitch, but Arias is out-muscled by Chalaba. Now Fernandes. João Pedro tries to flick it around Hercules, but can't do so. The ball holds up in midfield for Chelsea, and now Palmer tries to go past Rene, who dangles a leg out there and wins the ball for a throw-in for Chelsea. Right hand side, midway inside the Fluminense half. Palmer to Gusto. Caicedo. Fernandes. Not the best pass in the world. Moises Caicedo won't thank him for it, but good control from the Ecuadorian. And Nkunku now, midway inside the Fluminense half, out onto that left hand side again for Pedro Neto, who tries to go inside Guga. They're double teaming him now. Hercules is out there too. So Nkunku and Neto keeping the ball between them, but Chelsea are forced back there by Caicedo, and now Chalaba and Nkunku. So Fluminense really being starved of the ball here. 33 minutes gone at MetLife Stadium. You're listening to FIFA Club World Cup semi-final action. You're live on Flash Score UK. I'm Mark Strange, live for you, where it's Fluminense 0, Chelsea 1. João Pedro with his first Chelsea goal on his first Chelsea start against his former side. Here's Arias now down the right hand touchline, faced up by Cucurella. Arias says that if they can keep him quiet, that's a good part of the battle done for Chelsea. Arias now plays a nice ball behind for Guga, who's arriving late, deflected off Palmer. Corner for Fluminense. Chelsea looking for the goal kick. Palmer thought the last touch came off the Fluminense man, but it's going to be a corner. Palmer back doing some good defensive work. Let's have a look here, and no, well, I mean, it's quite clearly come off Cole Palmer. It took a couple of deflections, but definitely the last nick coming off the boot of the England international, formerly of Manchester City. Is now the Fluminense fans at the other end of the pitch trying to will the ball into the net here. As John Arias, the Colombian international, their talisman, their cult hero, will play us right-footed Out-swinging corner. It's a good one. Well headed away there by Adarabioyo. Comes back to Rene in the left corner of the penalty area. He steadies himself, delivers again as Adarabioyo wins the header again. And he flicks out on the right hand side now for Arias. Faced up again by Palmer. Arias gets the ball in there, header at the back post. And this time it's João Pedro back doing defensive work. He flicks it away. Rene keeps it in on the far touchline. And now Ignacio faced up by João Pedro. Ignacio is back to the penalty area, facing the touchline. João Pedro getting stuck in there. Oh, he's given away a free kick, João Pedro, for a lunge on Ignacio. And I thought he won the ball there, but Francois Letessier says that he... well, that's a fair shout. I thought he won the ball at first, João Pedro. A couple of lunges in there, and the second one, he caught the big Fluminense defender. Super work in there between Adarabioyo and João Pedro, showing that he's the Brazil international. That is João Pedro, showing that he's more than capable and more than happy to do his defensive duties. Those Fluminense fans making plenty of noise again, their hands all pointing towards the goal, hoping to will it into the net here. It's going to be Rene with the left foot here to deliver the free kick. We're just almost a couple of yards away from the left corner of the penalty area. So this is a really dangerous one. Arias is there too, so it could be a right-footed in-swinger. We shall see. In it comes to Rene, and it deflects through there, cleans of a hand from Fluminense. It's given! Penalty to Fluminense. Francois Letessier wastes no time pointing the spot. I think it's Marc Cucurella who may be the guilty party. Too many bodies in the way, I couldn't quite make it out, but immediately the red and green shirts were claiming for a penalty, and it's given. So in 35 minutes here, Fluminense have a chance to level this Club World Cup semi-final. Chelsea shirts surround our French official. Let's have another look at this. Rene's delivery in. It's Trevor Chalaba's arm actually behind Marc Cucurella. His left arm is by his side, that's for sure. It's Thiago Santos and Marc Cucurella are challenging the ball in front of Chalaba. It glances off one of their heads, and Chalaba's arms are by his side, but it absolutely hits his arm. So we're going to have a VAR check here now. But Francois Letessier wasted no time in pointing to the spot, but now he's being called to the screen. And we shall see their Fluminense fans who are praying here, asking for some divine intervention that the referee does not overturn his on-field decision. Penalty is the call. So he makes his way to the VAR screen, which is just beside the Fluminense bench, which isn't really what the referee wants to see. He's now taking up his position there. It definitely hits Chalaba's left arm, but it's pretty much by his side. There's not really much air between his arm and sort of his hip and his thigh there. It does hit his arm. He's also not helped Chalaba with the fact that the impact of the ball pushes his arm back. You can just imagine, just hits his arm and pushes it back. So there's a visual element to it. But now here comes Francois Letessier from the VAR screen. Is he going to stick with his on-field decision, or is he going to overturn it? Let's see. And it is he's overturned his decision. No penalty for Fluminense. Now, how will we restart the game now? Is it going to be a drop ball to Chelsea? It's the fans in blue around MetLife Stadium who are celebrating now. Letessier, he wasted no time in blowing for a penalty in the first place. Lau claims a handball from Fluminense, particularly from Thiago Silva, who's the closest man to Trevor Chalaba.